If you say that someone is over the hill, you're saying rudely that they are old and no longer fit, attractive, or capable of doing useful work. Well, I feel like that kind of sums me up in a nutshell lately. Something about this looking for job thing. Uh, it's really sinking my self-worth and my self-esteem. And I feel like I just have to accept that I'm over the hill. It's just a fact. And people like to try to look on the bright side. And, kind of try to spin it like, you're as young as you feel. Or, I had one guy tell me I was still a kid at 58, but I'm going to have to say 58's over the hill. And if you're as young as you feel, I'm definitely feeling 58. I had a thing where my truck, the starter went out on my truck and I had to replace the starter, which took a lot of crawling underneath. And then there was one bolt that was really hard to access from the top. So I had to crawl across the engine bay and lay on it. And there was a long bolt, like an 1.5 inch bolt. And I had a kind of a tall wrench that only had 6 sides and then the box end on the other. And I could just get a little throw with the wrench before it was bumping another thing. And then down where it was real tight. And so wouldn't, if it wasn't just right, you couldn't make contact with the bolt. So I'd have to put it down there, just get a little bit, flip it around, get it a little bit more, and then turn the wrench upside down, hook onto it, and get it to go a little bit more. And I had to just keep repeating that process. And during that, I was laying across the part of the air filter assembly. It's got one of those big round old school ones, and it just killed my ribs. Like that night, I almost felt like I had a broken rib. And but I had to. It was in a spot where it would have gotten towed if I couldn't get it out of there, and so I had to just do it. And of course, the part wasn't around. I had to take a bus back and get my motorbike. Take the motorbike back to the truck. First, I thought it was battery problems. I had to go through a lot of monkey business there. And then I thought maybe I was kind of hoping it was the starter solenoid because it's on the fender and easy to reach. And I just, first I tried wrapping it with a hammer because I know that will work sometimes. And then still nothing. And then I thought, oh no, it's probably the starter. But I was kind of having a hard time accepting that. Because I knew it was going to be such a big job, And then and then it was at nighttime and it was cold, and I had to ride my motorbike out to another town to pick up the starter and come back, and then crawl underneath and put everything back together. But oh man, when it fired right up, then finally, and I was like, thank you, Jesus. But so, and then I went to a job fair yesterday. And before the job fair, they had a job or a workshop for preparing for the job fair. And I was, of course, the oldest guy in the room. I walked in there, and let's say there was maybe 20 people, and it's like I forget that I'm old. It's kind of like that. And but anyway, there was a time for questions at the end, and first there was a gal before me that asked. She was afraid because she was overweight, and I forget, there was a couple other things, but she was worried about being judged at the booths, at the various booths, and I kind of don't remember what his advice to her was, and you would think I would. Maybe because I was thinking of my own situation where I was afraid. I was like, oh man, especially I was out there at a college at this place called Davis Technical Institute, and there was a lot of young people there around, and going to the job fair. And I was like, what's it going to be like? What would it be like even if you were an HR person, and then you get you get all these young people, and then here comes some old washed up dude like me, And so I just asked him. I said, "Hey, do you have any advice for older workers?" And he didn't really have any advice. I mean, he tried to say some stuff, and then he advised me to do a Red Bull. I think he said down a Red Bull and try to be high energy was his advice, which I just felt like was kind of ridiculous. But I'm probably gonna talk more later, not in this video, but I think I'll make a video about that whole job fair experience because it was kind of a trip out. And I'm just noticing that my camera is so crappy. This phone has such a crappy camera, and whenever I get high contrast, like behind me, I don't know if it's because my screen's scratched up, or just the camera's not capable of balancing that out without some fill light. But it seems like no matter where I'm at, I'm kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time. And right after I started the video, the sun came up over the mountain and lit everything up. It's probably gonna come in and brighten my face here in a minute. We'll see. But so I just especially like the that no longer fit. I mean, I feel like I could still do a lot of jobs. Like, kind of like don't count me out yet. But at the same time, I feel like I understand. Oh, I know why I was telling the story about the job fair. Because there was a guy at the table there. He said he was worried about that too, being too old. And then there was a moment, because there was pizza there, where the workshop was over and we were just eating pizza. And he was sitting next to me. And I was like, hey, I'm 58. How old are you? To the guy who was worried about being old. And he said he was 44. So he was 15 years younger than me, and he's worried about being too old, So, oh my God, it's just frightening. It's just horrifying getting older. I just am hating it. I'm not aging gracefully. Plus, just, all the stress, all that drinking and smoking I did, and those bad relationships just really took a toll on me, So I'm probably like 10 years older than. I probably look 10 years older than I actually am, And then I just, there's the thing about being attractive, and sometimes when I see my face, even in these videos, and I see all the lines and stuff on my face, I'm just like, oh, good God. It's just scary, And, but I don't know. So am I over the hill? I guess so. And then, so what's to be done about it once you realize, oh, the game's over? Like, it's all, you're past your prime. And and then if you haven't planned, like, look, if you had saved your money and been more successful early on in life, and you didn't have to worry about where you were fitting in, it's fine being over the hill. Who cares if all you got to do is go fishing today or something like that, If you're basically, retired, or let's just say even if you have your own business, if you're some hotshot contractor that you got employees and stuff, and then you're like that old banker where you're like more respected. But if you're still down here at the bottom of the barrel like me and you're old, it's sad. It's just a pathetic, sad situation. So, I don't know. I just kind of got to accept that. And then kind of give up my dreams of finding a gainful employment and just take some kind of survivor job. Like, I don't even know. Those are even kind of hard to find. And then I feel like I learned at my last job where I was making $19 an hour that it really doesn't change your life. It just uses another year of your life. And then you're no better off than when you started, except for you just survived. So, but maybe that's it for me. Maybe that's it. All I can hope for is just daily survival. It's like that, washing up on a desert island thing I've talked about before, where it's just really daily survival. But unfortunately, it's not just finding coconuts and water. It's like going out there and slaving for this horrible system, And so, I'm just hating it. I am just absolutely hating it. But I think that, in like the big book of AA, it says acceptance is the answer for all of my problems, or something along those lines. And I feel like it's time for me just to accept that I'm over the hill and life's over. And the best I can hope for is just to eke out some just some meager, pitiful existence. So, I'm trying to think. Yeah. And then, there's other, with the whole poverty thing, like, it, you can't really have any goals. Like, I'd like to go back to the jujitsu thing, even though I'm an old guy. I seen they were advertising for one around here it was like a limited class too. It was only accepting like 20 old guys, but it was for guys that were 40 and over or 50 and over, and it was about building your, it was like about exercise and getting more physical, and I think there was even something about building your self-worth or something like that. But can I do it? Fuck no, I can't do it. I don't have any money to do it. I can't do anything. So your options, you run out of options. If you combine poverty and being over the hill, it's just I don't know. It's just a horrible experience. The only good thing was I got my tax return from the state back, and so I only had $19 in the bank too. Luckily, I had just enough left I have a credit card with a $1,000 limit, and I had just enough limit left to get my starter for the truck the other day. So now I'm like maxed out there, and but yeah, I only had I was down to like $19, and then I got the check from the state, and it's like 600 and something. So if I'm careful, I can get by, and then I still got the federal tax return coming in. The other topic I wanted to just talk about was Adderall. I had my appointment to talk to the doctor about Adderall yesterday, and that experience was like super interesting. One of the things was the doctor was really young and good looking, but not in like a typical good looking way. It was almost like he was from I don't know, like a movie, but he had like a cool dress mode. He was wearing a kind of a really hip corduroy jacket, and he had kind of like longer hair and like super young, like not your typical doctor, kind of like if it was one of those, what are those, on the Lifetime channel, there was like those romance 1 hour shows that were like a Harlequin romance novel or something. I'm trying to think. I'm getting the name wrong, but there would always be these like kind of sappy romantic stories on that Lifetime channel, and he just reminded me of like the new doctor in town who's like young and hip, and I don't know, but he was really cool. I really liked him right away. I just liked his whole presence. He had good energy, and I was relieved too. I pictured some older dude like coming in. So I was glad it wasn't another dude that was over the hill, which is kind of funny. I really enjoyed his youth, And so he was asking me questions. He wanted to know what I was doing there, basically. And so I told him like the story of the Adderall, where somebody had given me in a half, and then I felt a lot better, and everything in my head cleared up. And then they gave me a couple more halves, and I saved them back until I had to do that carburetor rebuild on my motorbike, because I knew it was going to be complicated, and I didn't want to lose my focus. So I took those suckers, and then, yeah, everything just made sense. My whole day went by good, and I got the job done and everything. So I just thought, wow, man, Adderall is the answer, Well, okay, he didn't like that idea, mostly because of my blood pressure. So my blood pressure, the Adderall will really like amp up it's a stimulant, so it will amp your blood pressure up, which is bad for me. It seems like I can't get my blood pressure to go down with even doing the medications and diet changes and stuff. So I was like, oh man, that's a bummer. And but he talked to me about medication called Lexapro, and it's like one of those SSIs, and I had some experience back in the day right after my divorce with that, and I was mixing it with alcohol, and I got myself into quite a bit of trouble in all kinds of ways, including the police and stuff like that, because I just became a maniac, basically. And I'm not sure if it was the drinking or the meds or the combination of both, and just all the life stuff that was happening, but I really went over the edge back then. I mean, I'm laughing about it now because it's been like 25 years, but it was a pretty sad state of affairs. It was a real crisis, actually. But so I was looking at Lexapro, like at the just what does it do, and I pulled it up on my computer so I didn't screw it up. But it says it works by increasing serotonin levels in the brain to improve mood and reduce anxiety. Well, okay. And it also says something about OCD, which I don't have. I get annoyed with people that even talk about being OCD. Some people just like to say they're OCD because they think it sounds good or something, or they like the idea of being OCD. But I'm probably the opposite of that. I more like have a hard time focusing and planning, and I'm always losing my tools, like setting them behind me, and then I don't even know where they're at. Like, is it still in the shed or is it in the toolbox? And then later I'll discover it's just right behind me if I reach around, And so, okay, improving mood. I do need that, and because I just feel like this life, especially as a sober person, is just freaking miserable. I just hate it out here. I hate being in this world, this modern world. This just sucks. I just am hating it. My experience with it is just so dreadful that I just want to escape it. And I'm not smoking weed now, so I don't have that escape, and that actually wasn't even working for me anymore. And it was just making me even more grim, I think, at the end of the day. And then the alcohol thing, even that wasn't really working because I was, I'm just too old for it now. I get cramps at night because I get dehydrated, and I mean cramps so bad that like I thought I was gonna have to call 911 or something the last time I really overdid it. And so the idea of elevating my mood, I really like that idea. It's sad that my day-to-day life is so effed up that I have to have something that will just make it to where I don't care how effed up things are. So that's what I'm really hoping for, is just something that will just make me not care anymore. It's so bad. Because I feel like if I could get a cool life going, if I could just get a decent job or get some money going, then I wouldn't even have to go down this pill route. But I'm in this trap. I'm all trapped up, So before I can escape the trap in some way, I'm going to have to self-medicate, So, and then, so he said he was going to start me at 0.5 milligrams, that it would probably take 3 to 4 weeks to kick in. And I kind of think the wait time's even funny. It's like, even relief, it's just so far away. And it's funny because the liquor store is just down the street. I could find some pretty quick relief there, or even get a pack of cigarettes, which I've been kind of thinking of. I keep thinking about that lately. I just want out of my head so bad. So, and then the reduced anxiety. Well, the job thing has started to give me a lot of anxiety. Like, I'm getting real panicky about it. About like, well, my unemployment ran out. Everything's starting to get difficult. And so I'd say the anxiety is like beyond anxiety. It's almost like if we just went back to that over the hill thinking and that self-esteem, self-worth, it's like, what's the point of going on? Like, if I can't provide for myself, if I can't stand up and be a man, if I can't make my own way, why even continue? Like, why? What will become of me? I wouldn't perish quickly. It'd be like a slow death of, there's not enough EBT to give you food for the whole month. I just don't even know, So I had actually just started thinking about maybe it's better to just end it all somehow, And if I didn't have my 3 cats, Houdini, Emerson, and Dusty, that would be a pretty clear option for me. But I just don't want to leave them behind. I feel like nobody will take care of them like I do. So I gotta hang out for the cats. But I did get a bit of good news. The guy that his wife needs her bathroom redone, the shower situation and all that there. He wants me to come and start that now that the weather's broke. So that's something that will kind of keep me going, for a little bit. And then also now that I got the tax returns, that mushroom trip's a possibility. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna go ahead and try to hammer my brain with them, with the hero's dose, and just kind of see if that makes me feel a little better, But I think that's all I have for now. Thanks for listening, Timmy.